Hi, my name is Amber. I am a Hope Forward House client at Road to Hope Maternity Homes. I was born into a broken home already. My mother was 20 years old when she had me. My father did not want me, so he was not in the picture. She had two other children after me with her husband that she married when I was about 6 years old. When I was 7 years old, he had me baptized just prior to starting to sexually abuse me. I did conceive a child when I was 11 years old due to that abuse, and that child unfortunately did not live through the abuse that we were experiencing at that time. I really had a hard time with my self-image, my value in life for myself, and I only really lived for the people that I cared for a long time. The majority of my life, I ran to drugs and unhealthy relationships to make me feel better. I've attempted suicide multiple times. I've struggled with depression and anxiety and nightmares for the majority of my life. For all intensive purposes, I should be dead in a ditch or as high as I possibly could be right now. Getting pregnant with my daughter was that turning point. Unfortunately, when I got pregnant with my daughter, my son and I were in a horribly abusive relationship or home environment with her father. He didn't care about our safety. He didn't care about that my son was a 3-year-old who couldn't fight off a grown man. He didn't care that as a mother, I deserved to comfort my child, for example. My son, by March of 2021, had experienced so severe physical abuse that he landed in the hospital. Eventually, he was placed in foster care. I didn't have access to food or water or a bed to sleep. And I was 5 months pregnant with our daughter. Eventually, I was able to receive some resources from a nurse. She provided a couple of maternity homes. One of them was Road to Hope. When I walked into the doors, I didn't have hope for a future. The main goal at that time was to give birth to my daughter and give her to someone safe. It wasn't until after I'd had my daughter and we'd made it home and DHS knocked on our door. You hear a lot about 911 prayers, about those prayers that are like, you have absolutely no other option. I begged for somehow my daughter to stay in the home with us. And then from that moment forward, I gave my life fully, again, to the Lord, and He hasn't let me down since. Slowly, that safety plan lingered to my daughter being allowed to be with me 100% of the time with no supervision anymore, and eventually to my son moving home to the house. No one looking at the situation would say that that girl would regain custody and be able to keep her kids. Just the fact that my children are with me after what happened to my son, that's a miracle. The influence that God had at every step of the way through this process was present the entire time. Wow, Amber's still doing this. Wow, we've never spoken to a program that is willing to do this for a client. God's proven through this that anything is possible. If I didn't have Road to Hope, I wouldn't be alive right now. I mean, honestly, my original intent was to give my daughter up for adoption, and after delivery, then I would have attempted suicide again. Now I can have a life that it doesn't revolve around drugs or unhealthy people. There's a lot of safety that comes from living in a community that not only loves you for who you are, but loves you for who God made you to be. My kids get to grow up together. I didn't get to grow up knowing that my parents cared about me or would do anything to keep me safe. I get to do that for them. I get to tell people about Road to Hope from my perspective as a client, that you can come in and receive Jesus' love and acceptance and grace from other human beings. There have been a few times where on an intake call, I've actually expressed to an intake that I'm a client, or that I'm a graduate, and this is how scared I was when I moved in. When the Spirit whispers to me in the way that he does, that the only way that a woman is really going to take that leap of faith is knowing that it's real. It's only when he tells me to do that does that actually come up. But on those occasions that it has, those girls that I've told that to, that were so incredibly terrified of their situation, just like I was, they took that leap of faith. They weren't just trusting a whisperer. They were trusting my testimony too.